What's up, family? Man, I want to continue our relationship series. This is part 7. We're talking about healthy boundaries versus triggers. Again, healthy boundaries versus triggers. We all have boundaries, every one of us. We have some type of boundary. For the great majority of us, those boundaries aren't healthy at all. Those boundaries are our triggers. Because we have unresolved issues, and every one of us have them. The problem is that the great majority of us don't know how to respond when we're triggered. We don't know how to respond in a healthy way. And so because we've been triggered, we get mad, we get pissed, we erupt, we start cussing, we start crying, we do all kind of stupid shit. You know what I mean? That's not healthy at all. And so we don't like being triggered because it reminds us of something. It taps into an unresolved issue. It taps into a wound that hasn't been healed. And so we don't even want to think about that. We don't even want to talk about that. That's off limits. We don't have those type of conversations. That's off limits. We can't talk about that. You know, that's an unhealed person. And most people walking the planet are unhealed. And so they have these triggers. And so they put these boundaries up around their triggers to keep themselves from being hurt. This is a self-defense mechanism. And when you cross that line, they snap. When you cross that line, all hell breaks loose. You've gone into the forbidden territory, if that makes sense. I see healthy boundaries, something totally different. Healthy boundaries is something that you establish after you resolve your traumas, your pain, your suffering, your insecurities, your fears. See, you have to fix your insecurities and your fears and your doubts and all this other stuff to establish healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries is something along the lines of, man, I'm not going to let you take advantage of me because I know my worth. Healthy boundaries is because I love me, I'm not going to allow you to disrespect me. Because I value myself, because I value my time, I'm not chasing after you. I'm not chasing you because I know what I bring to the table. I'm not chasing you because I know my worth. I'm not chasing you because I'm not needy. I'm not desperate. Unresolved issues, triggers. Because I've been triggered, I react. Because I've been triggered, I get pissed. Because I've been triggered, I shut down. Because I've been triggered, I start blaming you and looking at your faults and your character defects. Because I've been triggered. And so being triggered is like an alarm system going off. You hear this alarm, you know what I mean? Why? Warning, 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 warning. You're going into unhealed territory. The person isn't capable of handling this pressure in a healthy way yet. They don't know how to heal this. They haven't done the work yet to heal this. And so this is a sensitive area. This is the area that's off limits. And it's off limits because I don't know how to heal it. It's off limits because I don't know how to resolve it. It's off limits because I haven't done the work to deal with it in a healthy way. And so I put this wall up. It's a natural defense mechanism that sends off alarms because you're getting too close to a sensitive area. This is like classified material. Everybody don't have authorization to handle this. Everybody isn't permitted beyond this point right here because I can't trust you. And the truth is, I don't know how to trust myself to deal with this, to heal this, to grow beyond this. And so I put it in this little corner back here. And I put all these alarm bells around it. So that anytime somebody says something or do something and they get too close to that spot, my alarm bells go off. And I push you away. Or I run away. Or I shut down. Healthy boundaries are established not because we have unresolved issues. Healthy boundaries are established because we've resolved those issues in that area. Is that making sense to you? You have to do the work. You have to understand your triggers. You have to understand your unresolved issues. And until you do that work, you can't have healthy boundaries. Again, you establish healthy boundaries because you know your worth. You establish healthy boundaries because you value yourself. I've met so many women that say that they have healthy boundaries and they cut off every guy that says something that they don't like, or they cut off every guy that does something that they don't like. And it's a struggle trying to explain to them that's not healthy boundaries. You've been triggered. And because you haven't dealt with this issue way back there and here and here and here and here, now every time somebody does something, you scream healthy boundaries. And that's why you're cutting this relationship off. You didn't cut this relationship off because you have healthy boundaries. You cut this relationship off because you've been triggered. And you haven't dealt with your first baby daddy or your ex-husband or your last boyfriend who hurt you and abused you and dogged you out. And that's why you're quick to cut people off. That's why you're guarded and protected. See, when you have healthy boundaries, you're not guarded. You're not standing on alert just waiting for somebody to fuck up. You're not standing on guard just waiting for somebody to say something that you don't like. That's trauma. That's a trauma response. We have to grow up. We have to understand you can have healthy boundaries in certain aspects of your life. And then you can have unhealthy boundaries, defense mechanisms to protect your triggers, your wounds, your trauma that you haven't dealt with. Don't assume that because you have healthy boundaries in this one area of your life, that you have healthy boundaries in every aspect of your life. Don't assume because you have healthy boundaries around finances, that you have healthy boundaries around relationships. Don't assume because you have healthy boundaries when it comes to you eating right and you exercising and you taking care of your body in that capacity. Don't assume that you have healthy boundaries in everything else. We have to grow up. Just because you don't allow people to disrespect you don't mean that you've healed from those traumas of being disrespected and sexually abused or whatever case may have been that you've gone through. Just because you don't allow people to cuss you out don't mean you've healed from your trauma. And a lot of people, we don't like being checked. We don't like somebody giving it to us real and raw. And that's just how these videos are. That's just how I am. You know what I mean? Because that's how I have to hear it. That's how I give it. Because that's me. And I understand everybody ain't like that. Everybody can't receive that. Everybody can embrace that. But I'm not going to stop being me just because you can't handle it. And the great majority of us, because we have trauma and we have daddy issues and authority issues and all these other things that we haven't dealt with, when somebody says something, when somebody comes off as raw, we say that they're aggressive. When somebody like me come and we just speaking da-da-da-da-da-da-da, oh, he's too hard, he's too mean, he's too authoritative, and he's da-da-da. No, you just have authority issues. You got daddy issues, mama issues that you haven't dealt with yet. And so the way that I speak is a trigger for you. You can't handle it yet. We have to grow up emotionally. There's a whole lot of people that have doctorate degrees and master's degrees and all these other degrees and certifications and licenses. And just because you have all that stuff doesn't mean that you've grown up emotionally. Just because you've amassed a whole lot of material stuff doesn't mean that you're grown emotionally. It doesn't mean that you've done the work to heal your traumas and your pain. And one of the things that I had to understand, because I was sexually molested as a 6-year-old kid twice, my thing is nobody's ever going to violate me like that again. And so I started getting of age. I started working out. Nobody was going to take advantage of me like that again. And so in my mind, because I'm kind of yoked at the time, I'm thinking, man, I fixed this shit. I resolved that shit. I'll never have to deal with that shit again. I established boundaries. My physical physique was a deterrent to somebody wanting to prey on me like that again. hadn't done the work emotionally to heal from that, to deal with that. And that's what the great majority of us do in life. We've gone through something traumatic. And then the great majority, we become ghetto and ratchet in the hood and violent in the aspect, I'm going to defend myself at all, that. And we just go left when we feel like somebody's attacking us verbally or whatever the case may be. Because we're never going to let somebody put us through that shit again. And what we don't realize, we think we set up these boundaries, these healthy boundaries, and all we've done, we're like that little alley cat backed up in the corner, whose back is against the wall and he can't go no further. So now he comes out in attack mode. That's what we've done, if the truth be told. We haven't fixed or healed our triggers or the things that are triggering us. We haven't healed the trauma and the pain and the crap that we've gone through. We don't want to face it. We're the alley cat. And somebody has you backed into the corner. That's what happens when you get triggered. You're backed into the corner now. You don't want to face the bullshit of what you experienced. And instead of facing the bullshit, you're facing the person that's triggered you, and you go in attack mode on that person. You unleash all of fury and hell on that person because they triggered you. Because they triggered you. We have to grow up. We have to grow up. We have to understand that in order for you to even establish healthy boundaries, you have to heal that area. You can't have healthy boundaries until you heal that area. It is what it is, and it's going to be what it's going to be. We have to grow up. I love you guys. Happy healing. Peace.